Coming up on AgweekTV, a long and expensive court battle is shaping up over ag water rights on a Minnesota reservation. A new research lab will look for ways to bring more value to ag products. Friends gather to bring in the harvest for a spray pilot killed in a plane crash. And Minnesota has bragging rights about some of the world's biggest pumpkins. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Emily Beal. Some farmers on Minnesota's White Earth Reservation are at what is the start to be promised to be a long and expensive legal battle over whether the White Earth Band of Ojibwe can legally require their own tribal water permits on private land on the reservation. In this week's AgWeek cover story, Mikkel Pates looks at this complicated issue.
Emily, the question of whether the state of Minnesota or an Indian tribe calls all the shots on water permits within its borders is coming to a head near Mahnomen, Minnesota.
I was born and raised on a farm. Production agriculture is all I've ever done.
Dave Vipond and his sons farm 1,200 acres, 800 of them on the White Earth Reservation. They started irrigating 3 years ago. He's seen how much more productive irrigated fields are. They want to irrigate another 320 acres on land adjoining the Wild Rice River. They applied for their riparian rights to water from the Minnesota DNR.
Then things got a little stickier.
The Minnesota DNR approved the permit, but after several weeks, the White Earth tribe notified Vipond that they'd set up their own separate permit system. He'd have to apply for that, too.
I think the tribe wants to stop all agriculture and regulate all agriculture on and around the reservation.
So now Vipond and a group of neighbors are preparing to challenge whether the White Earth Band can legally require their own tribal permits on private land, even in a 5-mile buffer belt around the reservation.
White Earth was always in good trust with the state, with our state partners.
Tribal Chairman Michael Fairbanks says that in recent years the tribe felt that they were no longer being fully consulted by the DNR on permits and wanted to take even more stewardship of the land and water, especially in the large water quantities needed by ag. Fairbanks says the White Earth Band of Ojibwe is proactive in protecting the land and water, but they wanted to work with farmers.
That we're all trying to work together on a sustainable farming industry, agriculture, and that we just want to work together and make sure that our water's clean and that we're doing the good things.
Fairbanks says that they're especially concerned about dairy and hog operations that are standard throughout the country.
What's the catastrophic mess that they're going to have to clean up in due years?
While all parties think the law is on their side, some believe this question may go to the U.S. Supreme Court. Emily?
Thanks, Mikkel. You can read much more in the next AgWeek magazine and at agweek.com. The region's newest bioproducts laboratory is open at the Research Park at South Dakota State University to make ag products more valuable. The Poet Bioproduct Center is a collaboration between SDSU and the South Dakota School of Mines. It will bring researchers and bioproducts companies together.
It's a very exciting project that will allow research and development around ag processes that can take raw materials like corn, soybeans, and other plants and turn them into valuable co-products.
The facility consists of 5 lab spaces and 6 bioprocessing labs, where some research projects are already underway to enhance South Dakota's bioeconomy.
Well, the bioeconomy is emerging. It's going to replace petroleum-based products with organic-based products that are grown by South Dakota farmers and ranchers. And so it's a very exciting way to add value and also be environmentally sensitive. And it really is the future of our economy, and we're glad to be part of it.
Dunn says the facility will be a great way for students to gain experience in the bioproduct space and work for small emerging companies and into the larger area of the industry. A very special harvest took place this week in central North Dakota. Friends and family of spray pilot and farmer who died in a September plane crash came together to harvest his soybeans. Jeff Beach was there and has more.
Harvest Day included a fitting tribute to Larry Polrise, 2 small planes and a flyover. He's the Jamestown area farmer and spray pilot who lost his life in a plane crash in September when the tail of his spray plane clipped an electrical wire.
The amount of people that banded together for this is just unfathomable. He would be just elated at the friends that are wanting to help him today, and so we're just very grateful.
Larry's nephew and farming neighbor, DJ Polrise, helped organize the event. 20 combines, 1,300 acres of soybeans with a fleet of trucks to haul the crop to the elevator. He said it was no problem getting farmers involved.
They're a tight-knit community, so they always, someone in need, we always try to help them, and they always come together and perform and get that crop off.
Larry had been spraying professionally for more than 20 years, but this year was to be his last, allowing him to concentrate on farming. He had been training Nolan Gleason to be a spray pilot, and Gleason says he's happy with the turnout.
I'm just kind of blown away with how many people are here, for sure. I mean, I don't think Larry could have ever imagined seeing this many combines about to go into his fields.
Larry's daughter, Brooke, remembers her dad as someone who worked hard but also made time for family fun or to lend a helping hand to others in need. So she's grateful for all those who came out to help his family.
So it's really like a full circle has come around, and it's a little bittersweet, but we really are thankful to see all these faces and all the help coming near and far just to make this happen today.
Near Sykeston, North Dakota, this is Jeff Beach for AgWeek.
Combines are separated by color on the fields, red in one area and green in another. Up next on AgweekTV, our dry bean tour continues with a check on the crop in central Minnesota.
Grain handling and storage projects done efficient, reliable, and hassle-free. With the one-stop shop of advanced grain handling systems. Get better test weights and less crop damage with their continuous mixed-flow grain dryers from Grain Handler and Nico. Get grain bins built to last from West Steel and Sioux Steel. Advanced Grain customizes each project to maximize your farm production. Contact Advanced Grain Handling Systems in Mayville for a free quote and site consultation.
Crary welcomes you back for the second annual Full Pod event. Join us with the Millennial Farmer, Brian of Brian's Farming Videos, Larson Farms, and Tony Fast at Fast Ag Montana.
Come see me, Tony Fast, in Fargo, North Dakota at the Crary's Full Pod event, November 30th. For details, go to crary.com/fullpod.
Don't miss Crary's Full Pod event, Thursday, November 30th at the Fargo Holiday Inn. Get your tickets today at crary.com/fullpod.
Getting down to business on the farm means hitting the office early, making sure your team's ready to go, getting updates from the field, and talking with your management team. At Riverbank, we understand the business of farming and how to protect and grow your operation so you can be sure your present and your future are in good hands.
When it comes to grain storage and handling solutions, one call does it all. Gateway Building Systems is one of the largest Brock bin dealers in the U.S. Our expert team is dedicated to creating a customized plan for your future success. Expanding your operation has never been easier with our range of Brock solid bins, grain dryers, conveyors, and more. As your trusted partner, we are committed to serving the needs of farmers. Take the first step toward success and call Gateway Building Systems today.
Our Ag Week Dry Bean Tour is brought to you by the North Harvest Bean Growers Association.
Our Ag Week Dry Bean Tour continues this week. Jeff Beach traveled to central Minnesota to visit with Ryan Peterson about his 2023 dry bean crop.
Ryan, tell us a little bit about your farm.
We grow dark red kidneys and black beans amongst corn and hybrid rye and some soybeans.
And how was your growing season this year for edible beans?
Our growing season was good. It was very dry, but fortunately we have irrigators to help with that, and we had a lot of good heat units, so we saw some pretty good yields.
Without irrigation, what would your crop have been like?
Without irrigation, it would have been nothing. We jumped into some dryland corn and it was 30 bushel or less per acre, and the irrigated stuff was 220 to 250. So without water, there's nothing.
And how were your yields this year for your beans?
Our bean yields were good. We had 2,500 pounds for kidneys and 2,800 pounds for blacks, and that was really good for us in a normal year, but even this year we had up to 30% hail damage on a couple fields.
And where do you market your beans?
Our kidney beans go to Chippewa Valley Bean out of Menominee, Wisconsin, and our black beans go to Prairie Bean, and they get delivered to Cyrus, Minnesota.
Thank you for joining us here today, Ryan.
Thank you.
Peterson was our last stop for this year's AgWeek Dry Bean Tour. A Grafton, North Dakota man may be one of the region's oldest farmers. At 93, Arnold Barkley is still growing sugar beets. He started farming in 1960, and this is his 63rd growing season. He started out with wheat, oats, potatoes, and barley. 2 years later, he added some sugar beets. Now he and his son grow 400 acres of beets on his 1,600 total acres. Despite the lack of rainfall all summer, this year's crop is their best ever at 36 tons an acre. But he has some advice for young farmers.
Quite a few tough years, but there's been just as many good years too. It don't make any difference if it's a good year or a bad year. You don't spend what you don't have.
Arnold says one thing he does not miss is working the overnight shift during beet harvest. Minnesota is big on big pumpkins. A gigantic pumpkin grown in Lancaster, Minnesota, measured larger than any pumpkin in history, but fell short of the world record at weight at the Stillwater Harvest Fest. The pumpkin, grown by Charlie Bernstrom, measured 515 inches over the top and weighed 2,500 pounds. That's the largest pumpkin ever weighed at the Stillwater event. Festival founder Joe Ailts says this was a great year for giant pumpkins, and this is the perfect place to grow them.
So the state of Minnesota, state of Wisconsin are historically known as really good giant pumpkin states. We live right on the 45th parallel, which is the sweet spot because you're halfway between the equator and the North Pole. And because of that, we got the perfect balance of heat and daylight. And that's exactly what you need to grow a giant pumpkin.
The world record heaviest pumpkin was squashed by Travis Ginger of Anoka, Minnesota, with a 2,749-pound giant at a California weigh-in. Ahead on AgweekTV, we'll meet an American FFA Star Farmer finalist from Minnesota.
There's no easy button, no guarantees, or promises of a good year. This is farming. It's unpredictable and demanding, with long days and sometimes stressful nights. It's weathering the storms and coming out successful. Farming isn't for everyone. We thank those who make it their life, because it is for everyone.
Risk management is not just for the grains. Livestock producers, did you know you too can protect the price for your production? Livestock Risk Protection, or LRP for short, is a great tool to help you protect the price of your calves. Cattle producers can also protect their pasture and hayland from lack of rainfall with Pasture Rangeland Forage, or PRF insurance. This is a very affordable way to help producers in times of below average rainfall. Call the Risk Management Specialist, Martinson Ag Risk Management.
A farmer's work is never done. You're not just planting a seed or harvesting a crop. You're growing a legacy. When you're up before dawn and out long past dusk, you need a banker who will work with your schedule, not the other way around. At Choice, we do banking differently, giving farmers like you time back to focus on what really matters. Choice Bank, top North Dakota Ag Bank for 10 years running, and always people first.
Integrity, excellence, teamwork. At Titan Machinery, we take care of our team. Whether you're an experienced technician or looking to start your career, Titan has a spot for you. Earn a competitive pay with the potential to make upwards of 6 figures. Service techs, come grow with a company that invests in you. Titan Machinery offers company HSA and 401k contributions. free single healthcare, and generous tool allowance. Plus, we'll provide all your uniforms and safety gear. Apply today at titanmachinery.com/careers.
AgWeek weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
Will the weather be favorable for harvest as combines start rolling in the region? Here's John with our AgriWeather Outlook.
Finally, some semblance of a pattern change, evidence that the weather will be turning significantly colder across the upper Midwest, Northern Plains, Southern Canada region. Is this permanent start of a hard winter? Not necessarily, but that will bear itself out over time. For the time being, the transition will likely yield southwest to northeast jet stream winds, and that tends to be a stormy pattern. Where the precipitation gets laid down, that remains to be seen, but it does look like we are in for a wet period in some parts of the Northern Plains and the upper Midwest, at least this coming week. Now, we start out the weekend with some pretty warm temperatures building up into the Northern Plains. Jet stream still nice and far up north. Cold weather, though, is brewing, building over the western part of Canada. And as this ridge of high pressure this week gradually builds into the east, troughiness starts building in the west. Storm system eventually will break away coming out of California. And this is what we're watching. Southwest to northeast flow of the jet. If these two streams consolidate into one major pattern, there could be a major storm. Not certain that's going to happen. I think it may be a little bit diffuse, but nevertheless, the potential is there for some precipitation. And as temperatures drop, there will likely be some of that falling in the form of snow. By the dark blue and cold, that's where I'm demarking temperatures near or below freezing. So this is definitely a switch in the weather pattern as we go through this week. Still pretty warm down south, though, and much of the eastern U.S. will be quite warm, even the eastern Corn Belt. This will likely send a layer of shallow cold air, though, down even into Texas, where they may have some weather that's only in the 40s and 50s, and we'll likely see some days near or just above freezing in the northern plains. Now, as we transition toward that first few days of October, I don't expect the cold to linger. If there is a layer of snow that gets laid down in some swath across the high plains in particular, that will cause the freezing weather or near freezing weather to linger longer. Where it doesn't snow, it's likely to pounce back up at least into the 40s and 50s, although I do think the general trend for the start of November will be for some much cooler weather in the northern plains and the western part of the upper Midwest. Now, about precipitation, this is a bit of a guess because we're looking at the pattern prematurely, and it's a pattern change, which means there are going to be day-by-day changes, but I do look for a fairly large area of rain, not necessarily excessive, but wet weather that will in some region across the northern Great Plains likely turn into snow. For the second week of the pattern, looks a bit more tranquil, some showers and thunder showers east, the west remaining dry, and lighter precipitation throughout most of the Great Plains.
The story of a farm is the story of a family. From generations past to generations to come, families have raised their children and the crops that sustain our country on the same fields. Today, with a better nitrogen, farmers can continue to take care of what matters most, the land they work and the people they do it with. Grain handling and storage projects done efficient, reliable, and hassle-free. With the one-stop shop of advanced grain handling systems. Get better test weights and less crop damage with their continuous mixed-flow grain dryers from Grain Handler and Nico. Get grain bins built to last from West Steel and Sioux Steel. Advanced Grain customizes each project to maximize your farm production. Contact Advanced Grain Handling Systems in Mayville for a free quote and site consultation.
Some things in life are hard.
That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
It was October 1st, 2009. We needed some machinery for the farm. We decided to see if we could become a dealer, and that's kind of grown into what it's been today.
We offer basically anything short line. Seed tenders, fertilizer spreaders, sprayers. We can really set ourselves apart by the knowledge we have in those things, by the amount of units we have on hand at all times.
I just have a passion for helping people, getting to know people. It just becomes a lot of fun.
So in 2017, RTD developed a thing called Whip Drain, and it is a drainage and aeration platform for many types of stockpiles. Sand or aggregates, sugar beets or potatoes. We can drain the water away from the product, and we can also force air into the platform and aerate the whole bottom of it. We've designed it so you can operate 988 cat loaders. I think they weigh about 140,000 pounds. Whip Drain is engineered to withstand that type of treatment.
Our AgWeek special report for October looks at agriculture education and what's new across our region. I traveled to Ada, Minnesota to meet a 2023 American Star Farmer finalist.
At the beginning of his FFA career, Daniel Jawson had his eyes set on one thing: being an American Star Farmer finalist.
Something that when I went to national convention for the first time in 8th grade with my advisor, Mrs. Olson, sitting at session, seeing those finalists up on stage and seeing their videos of all their accomplishments, I saw that and I was just really in awe of what they had done and what a big honor it would be to be on that stage. And so it's always been something that's been in the back of my head that I would love to do that, and for it to be a reality is a huge honor.
Jawson is a 2023 American Star Farmer finalist for his supervised agricultural experience. His SAE consists of a custom straw bale operation. He also raises wheat, corn, alfalfa, sugar beets, and soybeans on rented land, as well as land he's bought to himself, in addition to working on his family's farm. Abby Savage is the agriculture education teacher and FFA advisor at the Ada Borup West High School, and says the 2021 graduate was a pleasure to have in her classroom.
He's one of those students that you just know that work's going to get done and it's going to be done well, and he comes in with such a wealth of knowledge that he's a student too that you hope that other students are going to look towards. He was fantastic. I learned a lot from him, and hopefully he learned a few things from me as well.
Jawson's knowledge shined through in his application, and with one phone call, his 8th grade dream came true.
I've been telling people it's pretty much a once-in-a-lifetime career achievement for myself. The fact that I got to make that phone call to Daniel and tell him that all of his hard work for the past 7-8 years had really paid off.
Receiving that phone call from Mrs. Savage, we were loading the sprayer and I was in the skid steer. Mrs. Savage called me that I was a finalist, and it was a pretty exciting day.
Jawson will find out if he is the 2023 American Star Farmer at the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis in November. Still ahead on AgweekTV, you might be surprised about where wild grapes are growing in North Dakota.
Getting down to business on the farm means hitting the office early, making sure your team's ready to go, getting updates from the field, and talking with your management team. At Riverbank, we understand the business of farming and how to protect and grow your operation, so you can be sure your present and your future are in good hands.
Integrity, excellence, teamwork. At Titan Machinery, we take care of our team. Whether you're an experienced technician or looking to start your career, Titan has a spot for you. Earn a competitive pay with the potential to make upwards of 6 figures. Service techs, come grow with a company that invests in you. Titan Machinery offers company HSA and 401k contributions, free single healthcare, and generous tool allowance. Plus, we'll provide all your uniforms and safety gear. Apply today at titanmachinery.com/careers.
When it comes to grain storage and handling solutions, one call does it all. Gateway Building Systems is one of the largest Brock bin dealers in the U.S. Our expert team is dedicated to creating a customized plan for your future success. Expanding your operation has never been easier with our range of Brock solid bins, grain dryers, conveyors, and more. As your trusted partner, we are committed to serving the needs of farmers. Take the first step toward success and call Gateway Building Systems today.
Hi, Bill Kelsey here, Geringhoff Territory Manager.
covering northern Minnesota and the Dakotas. At Geringhoff, we offer a full line of the best harvest headers and residue management systems on the market.
Contact me today to discuss your farm's needs. From there, I'll connect you with an authorized Geringhoff dealer.
Dig, lay, and bury drain tile all in one pass with the Crary Tile Pro Plow. The Crary Tile Pro Plow lays tile up to 7 feet deep with boot sizes of 4 to 12 inches. Advantages of installing drain tile to your field provides increased overall yield, improved soil moisture levels, and controls soil erosion. It pays to tile with a Crary Tile Pro. To locate a dealer near you, visit www.crarytilepro.com.
In the heart of some of North Dakota's richest farmland, there was a different type of harvesting going on recently. Just south of Kindred, volunteers and workers picked grapes from the only Riverbank grape commercial vineyard in America. Calvin Wallivan has more.
Just off the Cheyenne River, where cornfields meet quiet, quaint country roads, a vineyard in our own backyard, and not just any grape.
These are the wild Riverbank grapes.
Kesselring Vineyards started experimenting with growing Riverbank grapes a few years ago. Now they have 4 vineyards.
And it's not trying to be California or this or that. We're trying to make kind of gold out of what we have.
This grape that Leif Erikson stumbled upon more than 1,000 years ago growing along rivers out east.
They called that Vinland, and Vinland is basically wineland.
Is found even here at home.
Just they literally blanket the whole the shores of the Cheyenne River.
Some people make jellies and jams with these grapes, but the Kesselrings grow, pick, ferment, age, and bottle the crop. The vineyard usually waits to just right after the first hard frost before harvesting these grapes.
Got a very strong kind of wild flavor, a little bit tart, but it's good. It's unique.
It's a lot of work, this vineyard business, pruning and primping year-round, hoping the weather and growing season all work together. And this year, a record year. 4 to 5 tons of grapes expected at these vineyards. From above, a patchwork of river valley farmland showing off harvest colors, grains and grapes. But right here, the picking goes on. After all, there's wine to be made. This is Kevin Walvin reporting for AgWeek near Kindred.
Once all the grapes are harvested, there will be a grape stomp at Kesselring Vineyard. You can learn more at kesselringvineyard.wordpress.com. Stories you'll only see on AgWeek.com and in AgWeek magazine this week. A Minnesota farm brings the fright with their hemp maize, and a Minnesota college provides education for the ag industry. We appreciate you watching AgweekTV. Remember to check us out daily on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to keep up on all your ag news. Have a wonderful week, everyone.